So this is where we giggling. Is there
Yeah,
something what's
no,
on your mind?
no, just you said about my mom and technology.
Oh yeah. Yeah, technology does can solve some problems there, even when they're based on human opinion. Uh so we thought we would start this one off with a kind of what could you say, agreement where we're gonna try a little thing that is a type of therapy for making you happier, for increasing the outlook dimension of your emotional brain, as stated in the book, The Emotional Life of Your Brain by Richard Davidson, very eminent psychologist at the University of Wisconsin. Highly recommend this book. But he supposedly discovered a different way of looking at the brain and can measure everyone's brain along six dimensions. And one of them is outlook, which is like kind of your general happiness level and how much you look forward to or don't the future. And this is a very simple therapy from someone else that he's recommended. So I'll read the therapy and then we'll talk about how we've both just dipped our toe in it and how we're kind of gonna try it uh the for the rest of this week, and then maybe also try to do some challenging things and talk about that. So every day for a week, do these three exercises. Write one positive characteristic of yourself and one positive characteristic of someone you regularly interact with. Do this 3 times a day. Ideally, you'll write down a different trait each time, but if you're stuck on how, quote, helpful your office colleague is, that's okay. The second thing is express gratitude regularly. Pay attention to times you say thank you. When you do, look directly into the eyes of the person you are thanking and muster as much genuine gratitude as you can. Keep a journal. At the end of the day, note the specific times you feel a genuine, even if brief, connection with another person during the act of expressing gratitude. Third, compliment others regularly. Keep an eye out for opportunities to do so, such as a job well done at work, a beautiful garden a neighbor created, or even a stranger's gorgeous coat, or when someone put their hair in a ponytail. Look directly into the eyes of the person that you are complimenting. In your journal, note the specific times you felt a genuine connection with someone you complimented. And then he goes on, after a week of this, spend a little time reflecting on what changes you noticed in your outlook style, in your happiness kind of feeling. In all likelihood, you will find that positive emotions stick around a little longer and that your sense of optimism and possibility swells. As with physical exercise, you'll probably need to find a practical maintenance routine. Yeah. So yeah, you and I started this. I told you that both yesterday when I went to a cafe to read and when I went to a Whole Foods to return some Amazon purchases, I really tried to genuinely thank with eye contact and with genuine and positive feeling the people I was talking with, and I did feel a little bit better, and I it did help me. It did sort of make me feel better than I usually do during those interactions, which I don't feel bad during, but I feel not as good as I did yesterday. And that did kind of I didn't note it down in my journal, but I noted it down kind of reflecting later on before bed, which I tried to do uh about feeling better. And I even more importantly, I felt like it kind of since I tried it, it kind of made it more likely that I'll keep doing this, even despite, that I'm gonna keep trying this because I'm gonna do this week. And I did the journaling too. I know you said you didn't do the journaling, but yeah,
Mm,
I did simple journaling like I love to learn, I love to study, and then blank works very hard and observes her uh observes the people she works with very well. And I have been learning focus and discipline. Blank does a whole lot of work for others, stuff like that, 3 times a day
mm,
since yesterday afternoon or so. But yeah, do you want to talk about the thing that you tried?
mm. Well, like, yeah, I was in the middle of a 16-hour shift
Mm.
when you messaged me about this, and my first thought was, I don't have time for this right now.
I'm sure that helped
But
you to
then,
feel better.
but then I figured that's a negative Nancy attitude. So I took the one thing I thought I could do from there, from the list, which is praising someone. So I got my opportunity when I um, told someone how well they cared for like one of the little animals that we keep at work because
Mm.
they do a really good job, and I could tell they cared and love for that little thing.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, like I gave them that compliment, and then that started a nice conversation about how they gained its trust and the things they have to do daily to kind of keep their habitat clean.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and she even wanted to show me because well, it's a bird, so like she didn't have very good eyesight, so she just wanted my input afterwards on whether there's any bugs crawling around in the seeds or anything
Wow.
like that. Yeah.
Wow. Well, how did you feel afterward?
Well, I felt good afterwards. It made yeah, it was a long work day and it made it a little better.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Yeah.
great. Do you
Yeah.
think you might have been the only or one of the only people who talked to her that day, or maybe even much longer,
Uh,
besides like perfunctory kinds of conversation?
yeah, I can imagine so because a lot of the interactions there are kind of superficial and just kind of making sure they're doing, people there are doing well, but
Yeah.
there doesn't really seem to me be as much opportunities, I guess, for genuine interest in what they're doing and
Yeah.
something that doesn't have to do with their care at
Yeah.
all, really.
Wow.
Um, but instead their care for something else. So
That's really great.
yeah, I enjoyed that.
I want to say you killed two birds with one stone, but I realize that might land wrong, but then like I couldn't I had to say it.
Well,
I just
one,
kept trying to egg myself on or restrain myself.
yeah, there's like only one bird left, so one did go down. Not back.
Eventually. But you didn't kill
Yeah,
it, right?
no, it's fine.
Yeah. That would cast a whole different light on this conversation if you had killed the bird that of the pair
Yeah.
of the original pair that she was a caretaker for.
Well, there were three, so like I guess two birds did go down, but
We're really extending this metaphor way too much, Lisette. Uh, let's see. Okay. So yeah, so you think you think you'll try the all three things, the journaling, the
yeah, I think
compliments,
the
and the genuine
journaling too.
thinking?
Um, yeah, I think I'll get to the journaling soon too.
You
Um,
think you'll do the journaling for like a couple of minutes at the end of the day to note if you felt a genuine connection with somebody?
oh, that's to be done at the end of the day.
I think so, yeah, or maybe the
Oh,
next
okay.
day. But the end of the day is probably the best.
Yeah, I can do that. And then you have to do one thing, right, about yourself and then one thing about someone else.
That's right. 3 times a
Yeah.
day, one
Mhm.
positive thing about yourself and one characteristic of
Mm,
yourself and positive characteristic of someone
mm,
that you regularly interact with.
mm.
So do that 3 times a day.
Okay.
Yeah, you could bring a little, notebook with you, a piece of paper, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll do that, or I might take notes on my phone because I have a
Yeah.
note-taking thing on there.
Yeah, there you go. And then just the other two are just regularly compliment people, look for opportunities to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's yeah, so they're somewhat merited. And thanking people, yeah, genuinely feeling and expressing gratitude. I
Mm-hmm.
think that helps. It's like you feel good from the connection, and you're making someone else feel good by being appreciated. Yeah, I tried that today
How
too.
did that go?
Well, that person actually wasn't really paying attention. They were sort of in their own head. So I thought I'm glad I did it, but and I felt decent about it. Yeah, because I could have like felt slightly negative about like making the effort, but someone else didn't care, framing it that way. But I think that's not the best way to go about it. It's more like to try to put some genuine, nice energy out there and and try to make the world a little the world around you a little better and don't worry that other people are in their heads. Other people will always be in their heads in this world. Other
Mm-hmm.
people, I mean some other people, and that's just unfortunately how they're sort of unconscious, mindlessly choosing their suffering. But actually, the thought I had afterwards was that if I keep doing this person will probably eventually notice and start to be a little bit more mindful in our interactions. And it is someone that I regularly interact with, so it's you know, I'll be able to run that experiment for the next week.
Yeah, you'll have many opportunities.
Hmm. Yeah. So another thing we were going to talk about is the idea of uh leaning into difficult things.
Hmm.
What do you think about that? Are there lots of things that you lean away from that you have to do that are difficult, or you avoid them, or you do them only reluctantly? I know for me, there's been ton of times where there's things that I didn't want to do and I just did them reluctantly, going through the motions, maybe some resentment and things.
Mm. Yeah, like yeah, I don't want to have to talk to people or um I don't want to have to deal with rejection or like just I guess ultimately anything painful.
Mm.
Yeah.
By the way, did yesterday's compliment that started a conversation also kill another bird with the same stone, in that it started a little conversation, whereas otherwise you wouldn't have had one?
Yeah. Um yeah, I probably wouldn't have had any kind of meaningful one, I guess, that day if I didn't.
Would you
Um
say that was your one meaningful interaction all day?
no, but I guess it might have just been one fewer, I guess.
Mm. So, what kind of difficult thing might you lean into this week?
Well, talking to people again through compliments or however way I can.
Okay. Yeah, I know you've said at work that sometimes you've messaged me sometimes that there's like you didn't want to, but you forced yourself to have a conversation with someone, and it went pretty well actually.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, it's just not easy for me. So I
Mm,
never really want to do it.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's usually pretty good though once I do.
Mm. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of like exposure therapy, or just, forcing yourself to get out of your comfort zone and have experiences that frighten you a little bit. Um, now that you've had a little bit of this experience, do you feel like it's gotten any easier, or do you feel like you haven't had
Mhm.
quite enough experience to start to feel that particular benefit?
Well, I think it's not easier yet, but it should be the more I keep doing it. So yeah, something I still have to keep doing.
You think you'll try it this week a few times and report back next week and see how it went?
Yeah, like maybe I'll try to do one compliment each day or something to
Mm,
someone.
mm, yeah. Well, yeah, you've worked there a long time and there's a lot of people there. So you may, if you set your brain on it, there may be
Yeah,
many opportunities that present themselves.
yeah. It's like yeah, I think lots of people there are pretty comfortable with me, so it won't feel weird
Yeah.
or something if I give them a compliment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like as opposed to someone on the street.
Yeah, that's more difficult. That video you showed me of that guy going around gave me anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's good though that he did it, but it's just very difficult, so I'm impressed.
Yeah. Well, this was someone, so for people who are listening, this was someone who was supposedly going around starting at the beginning of the day, and he was sort of narrating his sort of personality and his thoughts of just, it's the morning time. I don't feel like talking to people, but I'm going to force myself. And he's like, he's in, urban area, and he's, just saying hello to people, giving little compliments, stuff like that. And he's talking about just how bad he feels during and after. But then, yeah, as the video progresses, he gets better and better. He starts to have conversations with people, and he starts to say that he's feeling better and feeling more
Mm.
confident, and ends up having a great day. Yeah. So yeah, just for myself, leaning into difficult things, I'll mostly be at work, and I don't have that much of an opportunity to do that there. Maybe next weekend, start a conversation with a stranger or something like that. I definitely need to be more open with that. But then I thought we'd bring back, we haven't talked in a while about the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Book, very pretty popular book, pretty famous book. So Toltec from Mexico, uh, wisdom, the Four Agreements: be impeccable with your word. And this is kind of the most important one. This is the one that everything else is sort of derived from, according to the book. And then there's don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. And kind of like the therapy that we talked about earlier, and that we're going to try, like the middle two are kind of about relationships with other people, and I take it from that therapy to improve, to make more positive your outlook, since it's all about other people. I think other people have so much to do with one's happiness. Yeah, what do you think about these agreements? Do you have a favorite one? Do you have one that
Mm.
maybe that you've tried that's or that sticks out at you?
Well, maybe don't take things personally or something. Could be
Hmm.
maybe something to look out for me.
Hmm.
Just because, yeah, part of my problems with people is that I'm kind of like hyper fixated on looking for any signs I've like upset them or like
Hmm.
just anything negative to kind of try to keep them happy in my mind. So
Yeah.
like yeah, it's just so yeah, then like I might like overinterpret something or kind of be fixated on any little thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, just not taking things personally because people do things and aren't thinking most of the time. So
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think you're a people pleaser? You think you're afraid of people getting mad at you?
Yeah. Um, yeah, so that um yeah, so just yeah, that's why it's important to me.
Yeah, I think we were talking a little bit about that before the recording. You were talking about maybe in the future making a big purchase from, and I was trying to see was this a real problem that needed to be solved, even, and not to mention whether it would be solved with that purchase or not. Um, yeah. Do you have an example in mind that you could relate, without giving
Mm-hmm.
away personal details?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like there was one person that like always kind of never liked the gifts I gave them and would say something about it. So, one time when they complained the gift was too cheap in their opinion, um, the next gift I gave them was like expensive and they still never liked it. So there was no point in trying to be a people pleaser with that person because
Yeah.
nothing I ever did was going to be enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you almost a people appeaser there, where you were trying
Yeah,
to
like
avoid
yeah.
further criticism?
Yeah, or I thought maybe I would just make things right because then I started considering if maybe I was like too cheap or something, so
Mm,
or wrong in some way. So yeah.
mm. Yeah. I mean, we should try to please people, but yeah, being a people pleaser, I mean, what's the problem with that? That you're maybe more like you're trying to appease them. You're not doing it to out of joy and
Yeah, not
wanting
really.
to make them feel good, but more out of,
Mm.
yeah, fear that they won't think positively about you.
Yeah. And then you're just spending too much emotional energy on those kinds of people, so it's just not good or healthy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You do. I guess. Yeah. I don't know. Is there an emotional economy or most an emotional sociology or political economy where
Mm,
you don't? I mean, I don't think you want to cut people off, even minor people, but unless you have to, unless they're truly
mm,
toxic. But I'm afraid that sometimes when people talk about someone being toxic or something like that, it's often a two-way dynamic, and they're just not seeing their
mm,
part that they're playing,
yeah.
and they're using this as a sort of power play, as
Mm,
a they're deceiving themselves about how benign and how good they may be in their
mm,
relationship, and only blaming the other, and so sort of
mm,
cutting the other person off and sort of making their
mm,
their circle smaller and their mind smaller and their
mm,
self more, you
mm,
know deceived, and have less
mm,
chance of enlightenment later on,
mm,
because they didn't keep this relationship that could eventually teach them how, something about how they treat others and who they
mm,
really are, that they didn't want to see.
mm,
But anyway, yeah, there are certainly some situations where one wants to limit some interaction or some contact
yeah.
with people, or even cut people off.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, one should. Yeah, it sounds like. I mean, maybe there's other people in your life, or other people that were barely in your life, or not in your life yet, that wouldn't get the attention that and the gratitude and the love that they could get because you were so focused on sort of appeasing this person.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I suppose so. But yeah, I still like interact with this person, but I know like I know now like which like ways we kind of both enjoy, and I just don't kind of, and I'm still close to them, but I don't like stressed about giving them gifts or anything like that.
That's good.
Um,
I mean, sounds like you learned your lesson,
yeah,
kind of.
yeah, 'cause um, yeah, they just like food and going out to places, so
Okay.
that's how I spend my time with them.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
On the first, they sound like you. On the second, they sound like the opposite of you.
Mm.
But yeah, that's good. Um,
Yeah, going back to like don't take things personally, like I just don't really think about that gift incident anymore. And I just yeah, like I said, I just enjoy things with them in the ways that kind of work. So
that's good.
yeah.
That's good.
Like I still remember, but I'm not thinking about it all the time.
Forgiven, but not forgotten, but not in a
Yeah.
vindictive way.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I'm not mad at them on day-to-day basis or anything about it.
Yeah, that's good. Well, you maybe it's good you remember that so you can kind of know
Mm.
something about them and know how to deal with them or how to treat them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's not it's not hurting you. I mean, that's a problem
Mm.
with yeah, when we are angry or when we're angry with
Yeah.
people, it's
Yeah.
hurting our lives, sometimes even ruining our lives a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I paid attention and realized they never like anyone's gifts either. So
Oh,
it's even
really?
less personal, probably. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know this part of the story actually. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. You have any thoughts on why that might be?
Mm, I- yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't know if it might be like a little power thing or something,
Mm,
um, or maybe they just generally don't like receiving anything.
mm.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, you really shouldn't take it personally then.
Yeah.
We've talked a little bit about the other of the four agreements, be impeccable with your word. Is there any of the other ones that stick out to you? I know I've told you, for me, always do your best. Stuck out to me years ago when my
Mm,
friend told me first about these four agreements because I knew I was half-assing so much, pretty
mm,
much almost all of life.
mm, mm. I think always do your best. I'm not sure I do it a lot of the time, but I don't know, maybe in being kind of perfectionistic, I maybe do try a lot still. But
What
um,
about in interactions and in
oh
relationships?
yeah, I don't do my best in that way
Yeah, I
because I
was
just
thinking
try
the
to
same.
avoid it.
I was thinking the same for myself. Like um, I'm a little too internal and yeah, not connective. I mean, for me, I mean, with this podcast and everything, one of maybe the biggest thing for me is like in-depth kind of conversations that are very connective with the other person as well. And but I hold that up so much and I'm always looking for that I kind of think that I'm not going to get that most of the time. And so it's like horror or Madonna. It's like
Mm,
everything is either that this perfection that I have experienced and that I want to get back to, or I dismiss it and I don't even, I'm not really present with the other people or something like that. And
mm,
always do your best. that doesn't sound like I'm really doing my best when I can just make a good deal more effort for 5 seconds to like acknowledge someone else or be kind to them. And I do try to be kind, but I think sometimes I kind of pay it lip service rather than, you know, genuinely kind of yeah, be a little present and emotional with someone and and nice gratitude and yeah. Praise is in a way gratitude, isn't it? Like assuming it's genuine, like you're telling someone I appreciate the way you did that or who you are in this way or whatever, even if it's just like what you're wearing or, your hairstyle or something like that.
Mhm.
But anything you might try with that, would always do your best with relationships.
Yeah, I would keep, yeah, work on that therapy that about with like trying to compliment or praise people daily. Um, so that'd be one way to try better.
Okay.
Um,
And you're
it's
also trying something hard.
yeah, kind of painful for me, but I think part of it is just laziness too. Like
Yeah.
something about interacting with people, like it tires me, and then so I just have this laziness where I don't want to try.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for
so
me, I
yeah,
think hmm.
yeah, I think compliments though and praise, those are pretty easy to do. So it's easy
Yeah.
to find something good about someone.
Yeah. That's
Um,
why I like this therapy too. It's definitely doable. Like you cannot really argue that this is like extremely hard and will
mhm,
put you out. I mean, like I was telling you before, it will literally take 5 minutes total out of your day. You don't have that. I mean,
mhm,
and yeah. So okay. So we'll try these. You gonna take a journal? I'll take a journal.
mhm,
We'll talk about it next week. See what the results of our little experiment was.
mhm.
Okay. Well, until then, always do your best.